Hi, I'm Daniel Norton. Welcome to another edition of the portcast. And this week, being Showdown week, we thought we'd speak to two of the great antagonists and great legends of showdowns in this state. It's a joy to have them with us this afternoon. Josh Carr from Port Adelaide and Mark Ricciuto, of course, Brownlow medalist and former Adelaide Crows captain as well, join us this afternoon. Roo and Carrie, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Norts.
Roo, I'll start with you, mate. You're a proud South Australian, of course. Grew up the River Murray. Played with the Adelaide Crows, and then, of course, Port Adelaide came in 1997.
Yep.
What did showdowns mean to you?
Well, they annoyed me quite a bit. I loved playing in them, but we could never used to win them quite often. I mean, even the first one, when we were red-hot favourites and we'd been in for a while, we thought we were going to rock up and do the job. But Port Adelaide's obviously a bit harder to beat than just that. And, even right up until today, form can go out the window and it can be a real battle, as it was back in that first showdown. But a real highlight of the season, no doubt about it. Everyone loves playing in big games and finals, and showdowns were exactly that. I got heaps of memories. I mean, I used to have a bit of a punter, as everyone knows, and my cousin up at Waikerie was a mad Port supporter. All the Italians up there, they're all barracked for Port, and trying to get them to barrack for the Crows was impossible. But we used to have a bottle of Grange or quite a big summer cash on a game, and obviously not only were we losing on the field, but then when reality set in off the field, I'd lost me money off the field as well. So great memories though, as we look back.
Carrie, you're a Western Australian, of course, and came over at the end of the 1990s period, so there'd been a few showdowns that had already been played, but you're a player that just embraced Port Adelaide from the word go and embraced showdowns. I mean, your record speaks for itself, 10 and zip at the end of your career. What did showdowns mean to you on Port Adelaide, pitting yourself against the crosstown rivals?
Yeah, I think coming in originally, obviously in 90 and in 98, I had a bit of a feeling what it'd be like because I knew the rivalry between Fremantle and West Coast, and being a two-team town, I knew that it wouldn't be, I suppose, nice between the two clubs. And straight away when I first came in, I really had, I suppose, first of all, the Port Adelaide tradition banged into me from the start, and you appreciated when you walked into the rooms, you saw the lockers with all the names on there, and then to see highlights from the first showdown between Cummings and Jamison, and you knew that there was feeling amongst it. And like I said, you see this in the papers every day. You see the opposition players in the papers every day, and it becomes your chance on a big stage in this state to really stamp your authority. And though, like Roo said, they were like a finals atmosphere. We had massive crowds there, and both clubs were going pretty well. So it meant a lot to win those games.
How did the intensity compare? You both played and observed Freo West Coast games, and obviously you've played many showdowns. So how do they compare, the two types of derbies?
Very similar. When I played in the games over there, obviously West Coast were at the top of the ladder, and 2005, 2006 both played in grand finals, and it was very similar. We were trying. 2006 we had a really good year and made the prelim final, so there was a lot on the end of them, on the end of those games, and your supporters just love being a part of it.
Roo, you're in a unique situation. You played in the first ever showdown.
Yep.
I know the result didn't quite go your way, but the lead up to that game, I mean, I remember just from being a supporter and an observer, it was chaotic for about 2 weeks. What was it like being in the inner sanctum at the Adelaide Crows from the lead up to that first showdown in 1997?
We were looking forward to it. We really wanted to get out there and get the job done. I mean, there's always, even before the Crows got into the AFL, there was, Port were trying to get in, so there was always Port against the rest, and there was a bit of ill feeling, I guess, between the Crows and Port and the supporters well before even the first showdown. But I think that set up the real rivalry. I mean, an upset win in at the start. Jack Cale saying that we controlled the game and did it easy and all that sort of stuff. And there was always, it was pumped up off the field. It wasn't tried to get played down like it did there for a while a few years ago. I think it should be pumped up because the supporters love it. The supporters are the ones that actually feared losing more than the players, funnily enough. I mean, I used to get around the streets, and by the end of the week I was so sick of Crow supporters coming up to me and saying, make sure you win, I've got to cop it at work if you don't, and all this sort of rubbish. And in the end, I think actually some of our supporters didn't even go to showdowns because they feared losing, which is a bit weak. But there was blues in the crowd. It was just on for young and old. We talk about bragging rights and all that sort of thing. Well, it was a bit like that, but it was a way of everyone letting off steam, whether it be a player or a supporter or whatever. But, certainly great memories.
For Crow supporters who are thinking about going this week,
Yep.
and maybe thinking about, well, it's a Port home game, I'm not too sure whether I should get down there. You're basically saying, get behind your side, get down there, make these games big and as much noise as possible?
Well, I read the paper today and I saw you trying to get the 19th man down there. Well, if the 19th man is real and you're listening now, get down there. Don't be weak. It'll be all fine. Get down there and support the Crows. It'll be a ripping game on Saturday night. So there's no reason why they shouldn't come down. I mean, it's have you got the fan-friendly areas?
Fan-friendly zones, yes.
Yeah, that's a bit soft, isn't it? But that's modern day everything, isn't it? But get down. It'll be a great game. And, as we said before, form goes out the window. Port played well last week. It'll be a ripper.
Couple more for you guys. I know you're very, very busy, so we thank you. You've got Triple M commitments, Roo, but your favourite Showdown memory, Carrie? I know you won 10 of them. You've got 100% record.
Tough choice.
For you, anything that sticks out, a game against all odds, game that you just sticks out for any particular reason?
I suppose they're all great memories. My last one, which was a Showdown, that probably stands out as my greatest memory. But even I suppose the night before the Ramsgate, there's good memories there as well. But yeah, it was just fantastic to be a part of big games, and I think Choco's big thing was always playing well in big games, and so playing in Showdowns was an opportunity to try and play well. So that's what I enjoyed about them.
Funny you mentioned the Ramsgate. We might get to that really shortly. Roo, your favourite Showdown memory?
We had some good ones. We had a great win in '98 leading into the finals where we sort of beat Port pretty convincingly, and you could just tell we were on our way to bigger things at that stage. We had a good win in the finals. In 05, I think we won by 80-odd points that year.
Don't remind us.
That's when Carr was over in Perth. That's probably why we won. But that was a ripper too, and we were hoping to go to bigger and better things as well. But I just playing Showdowns in general. I mean, good footballers are competitive beasts, and that's when you got to have a crack.
All right, boys, final note here. 10th anniversary of the Ramsgate. I know you've written about it in your book, and you've probably spoken to it ad nauseum, but let's get it out, the tell-all. Like, how did it happen? Like what happened on that day? Can you just... Well, that night.
I'll tell you what happened.
I was pointing to you.
I went up to the bar to buy a drink, and Carrie just grabbed it and said, "I'll be drinking that. I knocked you off yesterday," and then we just had a little bit of a wrestle. Wasn't too much.
So let's get back to Simon Goodwin though. Was celebrating his 100th game or something?
Yeah, it was
across
good,
the road.
good his 100th. We were at down one of the restaurants, and it was a BYO, and we'd drank all our BYO drinks at that stage. So one of the boys went up to get a few more, and saw the Port boys in there, and someone said, "Oh, we should go up there and say good day." And I said, "Well, if we go up there and something happens, don't bloody back out, you blokes."
So, Carrie, how many Port? Don't you have to name them all, but how many were there? Like, you had many there, or was it an uneven fight?
I had a few young guys there, but the older guys had actually gone over to the sandbar at the time, so I lost a bit of backup. I ended up with Peter Burgoyne's younger brother Philip, who was 16 at the time.
I think he might have split Mark Stevens that night. I think
he might have. I caught one from Goody. Which was interesting.
Yeah, it would have been a cheap shot.
Just a little one, a little mark. I didn't know at the time, but I got filled in the next day.
Now, any punches thrown between you guys, or was it just...
we had a fair bit of respect between us.
It was the WWF wrestling, which I think I mentioned earlier that Roo got me into a pretty good headlock for about the third time for the year.
You couldn't breathe?
Well, this time I managed to get out of it. I went to illegal tactics and went for the school grip.
Went for the plums.
Yeah,
it was the only way I was going to get out of it.
Honestly though, he must have been giving you the brace and bits that much on the field though. You must have
I got dragged.
Really
I got dragged actually for giving away free kicks. I don't know if it was that game, but it was at one of the games, and I couldn't stand it, and I was annoyed with the umpires not looking after me for how Carr was going about it. I respected Carr for doing it because, as I've said many times, it would have loved to have had him on my team. But at the end of the day, when you lose, you don't play well. You've got to do something about it somewhere. And it was obviously why there was no punches thrown. It wasn't. I didn't want to kill him. I just wanted to let him know. I was pretty upset.
The biggest memory I had for the next game, because there was obviously a massive build-up, was Roo coming off the line. And
He did.
I reckon he's missed me by about that much and cleaned up Roger James.
Oh, did I?
Cleaned up Roger James.
He's a good bloke as well. Sorry, Jamesy.
How did the Mercedes end up that night too, by the way? The bonnet of that car. No good.
I think there was a bit
outside
of
the
I think there was a bit of damage there.
He rang the club, that bloke. He said, I don't care what happened. I don't even worry about my car. I just want to know who won. He said so. Bit of
Who
fun.
did win? All in all, 50-50
I think it was a
orders
square. No, it was a square.
Yeah, it was square.
Brilliant. Hey guys, thanks for joining us on the podcast for this edition. It's been an absolute pleasure reminiscing about some of those good old times, and let's hope that Showdown rivalry can most importantly continue for another 33 Showdowns in the future, so because it's just a great part of South Australian sport.
Good on you, Norts.
Brilliant, Roo.